What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of The Break, a weekly newsletter where I provide stories and actionable insights on breaking work and building the future you want. If you like what you've been reading or listening to, please follow along with me on Twitter. I'm at MNGardon, Gardon, or you can find me on LinkedIn by searching Michael Garden. And do that for more community and conversations around breaking work. Today at a glance. So, how we approach failure is how we approach life. SpaceX blows up rockets and says, "We're learning." NASA doesn't tolerate blowups and is now out of business. We can influence how we fail. We can fail smaller and more often so that our risks don't impede our progress. Real quickly, as listeners and readers, you've heard that I'm launching a course called Advantage Mapping Foundations. And I'm getting ready to launch the course, hopefully in the next few weeks. And Advantage Mapping is all about systematic, high odds approach to career discovery. So I would love it if you hop on over to my sales page. You don't have to do anything. Just take a look, give me some feedback, and reserve your spot. It costs absolutely nothing to reserve your spot. You can choose to purchase the course when it comes out or not. But here's what you get simply for registering. You get a chance to win 1 out of 5 free course slots valued at $250. You get early access to our Breakers community that we're setting up behind the scenes right now. And you get access to our exclusive interviews with an upcoming special podcast guest. So simply click below to check out our Advantage Mapping Foundations page and let me know what you think. Next up, real quick, if you're looking for a job or looking to hire in 2023, start with ZipRecruiter today to find the best opportunities and candidates out there. I'm proud to partner with this award-winning company to bring you this newsletter absolutely free. All right, failure. Are you NASA or are you SpaceX? So I watched something this week that stopped me dead in my tracks. It's a 17-second clip of SpaceX rocket blowing up in midair just 4 minutes after its launch. I did a LinkedIn post on it, so go check it out and put the sound on and let me know what you think. So the reason why this stood out to me is because I noticed that with the sound on, everybody's cheering when the rocket blows up. The cheering came from the control room. It came from SpaceX employees. Why are they cheering? This isn't our normal view of failure, right? How we view failure is intricately linked with how we view and are affected by uncertainty. Our normal view of failure tells us that it's something to avoid. Everybody in that control room should be angry. They should be crying, frustrated, mad, or whatever. But that wasn't the case, right? Whatever you think about Elon Musk, in this particular example, creates a great lesson in how he relates to failure. If we pay attention, there's a golden lesson here for how we need to think about failure in our own minds if we want to become more adaptable and build meaningful lives. So here's the NASA versus SpaceX approaches to failure. SpaceX, as we showed, sees blowing up a rocket as progress and learning. This wasn't a new thing for them either. It's built into their culture. They've actually blown up lots of rockets in their quest to figure out space exploration. This happened to be Starship on its maiden test flight. This is the heaviest rocket ever, and it's never been launched before. But that's not what the media tells you. The pundits tell you this was a failure, a giant failure. 33-engine rocket blew up in space. The media doesn't tell you that blowing up rockets directly led to the innovation of re-landing boosters and reusing them, which directly contributed to the dramatically lowering cost of rocket launches. So much so that NASA, the once preeminent space exploration entity in the world, is now paying SpaceX to take payloads up into space instead of launching them themselves. In fact, NASA said re-landing a rocket back on Earth could never be done. Smart engineers put their pens to paper and did all the calculations that showed re-landing a rocket couldn't be done. So they never tried. This is the difference between theory and practice, and why I say we can't think ourselves to the right solution. We have to participate and we have to act. NASA spent billions of dollars every year trying to put astronauts up in space and ended up discontinuing the space shuttle program. They stopped sending astronauts into space. They stopped space exploration. Why is that? Frankly, because it was the way they were doing it, it was too darn expensive and took too long. NASA's view of failure was that it cannot be tolerated. NASA's frame of mind is the perfectionist state of mind. NASA had to qualify every single tiny part multiple times before it ever went into a rocket. They had to make sure everything was absolutely perfect before they ever took action or did anything. That's a lot of pressure to get it right. And it added a whole bunch of bureaucracy, complexity, and additional time and cost into the process. They didn't take any new approaches, and so they were passed by. Think about it in your own life. Think about the times when you're so afraid of failing that you overthink things and you fail to take action. Well, if I just had more knowledge, if I read another book, if I watched another YouTube video, that's what we think. But what happens? A day goes by, a week goes by, months go by, years go by, and you still have the same dreams, but you haven't taken any action steps toward them. You're just afraid to fail. But SpaceX model of failure is we're learning. They said rocket launches shouldn't cost that much, and they were right. It shouldn't take that long. Instead of qualifying everything, and believe me, there's still a very healthy amount of quality control in here. We're talking about launching rockets. So there's plenty of theory and expertise that goes into this. But they started launching rockets with nobody on them and blowing them up and trying to re-land them. Again, something NASA never even tried. They took action. They failed over and over and over, but they learned every single time. They figured it out and they did it. Right now, each of us, we're NASA, and we need to be more like SpaceX in how we view failure. So my question for you in this reframe of failure is, what rockets are you willing to blow up in your lives? What are the things that you are so keyed into that you say, I'm going to try, and it's worth trying, and I'm okay if it fails because trying was worth it? If this blows up, how can I look at my failure as a learning? And if we're really, really risk averse about blowing up these rockets in our lives, how do we break a rocket down? How do we make the risk of failure or uncertainty smaller so that we can continue to take action, but it doesn't hurt so much? This mindset change is key to breaking out of whatever constraints you have now. The best people who are doing things and doing new things embrace failure. They systematically create small failures. They learn from them so that when they really swing big and they are confident and they make up for all those little failures. These are the entrepreneurs, designers, and investors that are adapting and thriving. Embracing this view of failure is a key component in my advantage mapping system. And when you truly embrace it, you can do anything. We'll see you again next week.